Hi, my name is Josh Freeman. I'm here to talk to you about the causes, effects, and solutions to global warming. In spite of many causes of global warming, people can implement the solutions to deal with the effects of it on an international, state, and personal levels. Now, I'm going to briefly define the key terms of global warming, greenhouse gases, and greenhouse effects, before I get to the main points of the causes, effects, and solutions to global warming. Now, global warming is commonly referred to as an increase in the temperature of the lowest layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Global warming has occurred in the distant past as a result of natural influences, but the term is most often used to refer to the warming predicted to occur as a result of the increased emissions of greenhouse gases. Now, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, gases that trap heat in the atmosphere are often called greenhouse gases. Some greenhouse gases are such as carbon dioxide occur naturally and are emitted to the atmosphere through natural processes and human activities. Other greenhouse gases are created and emitted solely through human activities. These greenhouse gases that enter the atmosphere are due to human activities are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. Now, the greenhouse effect, there are two meanings of it. There's the natural greenhouse effect that keeps the Earth's climate uh, warm and habitable. The second meaning to the greenhouse effect is the man-made version, which this is the enhancement of Earth's natural greenhouse effects with the addition of greenhouse gases from burning of fossil fuels. Um, Now I'm going to talk to you about the causes, effects, and solutions to global warming. So the causes of global warming consist of the Ice Age theory, ocean activity theory, sunspot theory, and the human activity theory. Now, the Ice Age theory is a small variations in Earth's orbit which can lead to extreme changes in climate. It can result in melting or expanding of the glacier ice sheets in the northern hemisphere, resulting in the warming or cooling of the climate. In the past, these variations have been causing these so-called ice ages. Now, the ocean activity theory has to do with a large number of carbon dioxide which is dissolved in the ocean water. The quantity of it always eventually comes out to equilibrium with the amount of it in the atmosphere. Now, another theory is the sunspot theory, which is based on the consequence of the sun activity. Sunspot cycles are determining the amount of sun radiation which was released in space and received by Earth. Now, so Earth is having atmospheric effects on climate during these sunspot cycles. The last theory is the human activity theory, which most scientists see the cause of the current, temperature change due to humans, just us. Burning fossil fuels and deforestation, which is like cutting down the rainforest and all the trees. So the Earth is having atmospheric effects on climate due to the natural gases or fossil fuels. Um, so oil, coal, and natural gases are fossil fuels formed on the Earth from the remains of plants and animals. Um, Now I will move on to the effects of global warming, which include the rising of the sea levels, changing ecosystems, and changing climate and weather patterns. So the rising of the sea levels, it is clear that the warming of Earth's atmosphere will then lead a number of serious changes in the environment. Beginning with the rising of the temperature will eventually melt glaciers and polar ice, in turn which will result in the rising of sea levels, ending up in the constant flooding of huge areas of the heavily populated lands. Now, changing ecosystems, it'll basically change entire ecosystems, um, or even totally wiping them out. Many forests could die off, unable to adapt to changing climates. Warming could also present conditions for growth in insect populations as well, which have a negative effect on our agriculture and our human health. The changing of the climate and weather patterns could dramatically change as well. Um, number of radically hot days will go hand in affecting the frequency and severity of storms, flooding, hurricanes, droughts, and forest fires that will increase due to this. More intense rainfall will bother some areas, and at the same time, water supplies in some regions, particularly in already affected dry, arid deserts. Um, Now, getting past the effects of global warming, I'll move on to the solutions that can be made to help. Solutions, basically, humans have developed a number of devices to adapt themselves and their activities to the changing climate and weather, such as air conditioning for keeping the desirable indoor temperature in the houses, tractors to cultivate the large areas of land faster and easier, other like these. That's just some examples. If the technology continues to increase and develop, it is feasible that humans will eventually be able to adjust to these changing climates accordingly. Now, individuals could reduce energy consumption, recycling and reusing goods. People could use cars less when possible. They could use public transportation, walking, biking, anything like that to cut down on the gas of car and using that. Um, Yet, when having a personal car, you can choose from a fuel-efficient model instead of your gas-guzzling SUVs or trucks. They have new models now that are using alternate sources of energy, like electric cars, that are more fuel-efficient as well. Now, also, individuals can buy energy-efficient appliances in their house to cut down on the electricity consumption. There's also a way to introduce the alternate energy sources, such as nuclear, solar, and wind energy, to help adapt to this changing weather pattern. So, in conclusion, I've given you information on the cause of global warming, which favor the human activity theory to be causing most of the effects of global warming, which include the rising of the sea levels, changing ecosystems, and changing climate and weather patterns due to the burning of the fossil fuels and deforestation. Solutions have been addressed to individuals to reduce energy consumption by recycling and reusing goods and such. Also introduce the alternate energies such as the nuclear, solar, or wind energies to preserve our Earth's fossil fuels. Alright, now is there any other questions?
So you're saying scientists believe the cause of the climate change is due to a human activity?
Yeah, basically the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, like the cutting down of trees. The fossil fuels consist of oil, coal, and natural gases that formed on the earth from the remains of plants and animals.
What greenhouse gases enter the atmosphere due to human activities?
The gases consist of carbon dioxide, methane gases, nitrous oxide, and Florentine gases.
So if the Earth's temperature keeps rising, what will eventually happen first?
It will begin with the rising of the temperature will eventually melt glaciers and the ice caps, which will result in the rising of the sea levels, ending up in the constant flooding of huge areas in heavily populated lands. That's it. Thank you for listening to my speech, and have a good night.